everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Today's video is going to be another one of my full face first impression one brand makeup look tutorial things. It is very loud today. I have a window open because it is hot. I have cockatoos making a lot of noise outside. I have Pascal on the bed behind me who is growling at neighborhood dogs. So it's very loud, but we are going to struggle through this together and get this done. Yes, I am filming this on the 15th of November, and yes, I do have Christmas bedding on, and no, I'm not going to apologize for it. I am 100% here for it. I love Christmas. It is my favorite time of year. And for 2017, it means that 2017 is nearly over. So bring on Christmas and let's get rid of this year and see the arse end of it. So I do have a little bit of Christmas bedding on in the background. In the coming weeks, I will have probably more Christmas decorations in whatever background I choose to film in. I do have a haul coming up very soon from Kmart, my darling, my angel, where I have done a little bit of Christmas decoration sort of shopping. So if you would like to make sure that you don't miss out on that, then you can obviously subscribe and you will see it when it goes up. But today's video, as I said, is a one brand first impressions one face look, and I'm doing this one today on the cosmetic brand Essence. So Essence, from what I understand, is quite easy to get around the world. Here in Australia you can pick it up in Priceline, Target, I don't think Kmart, but Target and Priceline, and you can also purchase it on some online retailers as well. I know you can get it in America if you're watching from America, and I also know that you can get it in some places in Europe and the UK as well. So it is a fairly accessible makeup brand, but it is one that I have not really delved into. I've kind of picked out little bits and pieces that I really like of it and have stuck with them. I haven't really delved into the full range. And one thing, judging by the teeny tiny little size, are their lip liners. The Essence lip liners are hands down one of my favorite. They are creamy, pigmented, they don't tug, they wear all day, and they do what they're supposed to do, so they stop your lip color from bleeding throughout the day. I love them. I can't rave about them enough. So I love that. And the other product that I have constantly mentioned on my blog and my channel is the Make Me Brow eyebrow gel mascara that they do, which is a very similar knockoff to the Benefit Give Me Brow, I think it is. I have not tried that. However, this is very similar to it. It is a fiber mascara, and you just brush it through your hair in your eyebrows to give you a little bit more volume. So with that being said, I'm going to jump straight into it. Now, if you haven't seen any of my product full face videos before, I basically do a full face with just the one brand. So if they don't have a primer, I don't prime my face. I don't substitute any of the products in. Everything I use is from the chosen brand. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my face, and I picked up the Soft Brightening Face Perfection Primer. So there it is on the back of my hand. You can see it does have a bit of a tint to it, a bit of like an orangey tint. It is not silicone, or it doesn't have a real silicone sort of feel to it. It is a little bit silicone-y, but it is nowhere near as silicone-y as the Benefit Professional or the Smashbox primer, or even the NYX the NYX matte primer that I really like. It's not that kind of silicone-y, but there is a little bit of silicone in it because I can feel it on my skin. In terms of it being color correcting, I can't really tell. So I'm going to jump straight in with the foundation. They do have a couple of different types of foundations. They have a more liquidy pump foundation. They also have like a mousse in a jar kind of foundation. But I picked up this one, which is their Camouflage Foundation. So it is the 2-in-1 makeup and concealer, high coverage, long lasting, in 10 Ivory Beige. One thing I will say with Essence is that they do not have a lot of color ranges. That I think with this foundation there may only be sort of less than 5 shades. So that is definitely a drawback to this brand as a whole. They are very affordable, but they do not have a lot of shade selection. So this is going to be a pretty much crapshoot if this is actually going to suit my skin shade or not. But we will make it work. Now I'm going to blend this half in with a sponge, and I will blend the other side in with a foundation brush to see which one works better, better coverage, etc. Okay, so there is basically one layer of the foundation on that side of my face. I think the coverage is okay with that. I certainly wouldn't call this high coverage foundation though. And for some reason, I seem to be having trouble with it on that nostril. It does not want to adhere to it. It keeps rubbing off. So I'm not actually sure what the problem is there. But for one layer, I think this looks okay. I'm going to even it out on the other side with a brush to see if there is any difference in application or coverage. Okay, so there it is, evened out across my face. Again, it seems to be patching in sort of weird places. A little bit on my cheek here and a little bit up here on my forehead where the foundation just doesn't seem to want to attach to my skin. I'm not really sure what that is about. However, I do think that I get a better finish with the sponge rather than the brush. I don't really know why. I mean, I suppose it's probably more about a personal preference. I normally prefer to use a sponge over a brush anyway because I tend to get a lot of brush strokes. I am going to go ahead now and just do another layer of the foundation all over my face with the sponge to see if we can maybe build up the coverage and to see if we can actually get it to stick to a couple of spots where it doesn't want to stick right now. Okay, so there is 2 layers of the foundation now across my whole face. I actually really quite like this. I think the coverage of it now with a second layer, it probably would be what I would call full coverage. It has definitely cancelled out any of the redness. It has managed to cover up this awful scarry type pimple that I had here on my chin. And I actually think my skin looks quite nice. It doesn't look oily. My skin doesn't feel oily. This foundation for me actually sits really quite nice on top of my skin. It is not cakey or heavy or disgusting. I think the colour is a tiny bit yellow to me and for me, just because my skin tone actually has more pink undertones rather than yellow. So for me, it is a little bit off just because I think the main base of this foundation is more yellow rather than pink. However, by the time I've got it now down my neck, by the time I put powder and blush, bronzer and highlighter and everything else on top of the skin, if it doesn't patch off, that's it, that is. In theory, it probably will look a lot better. I think at the moment, particularly in my monitor, I look actually very quite yellow, almost Simpson yellow, but in real life, I really don't look as yellow. It does look a little bit off, especially if I compare it to my hand there where you can see my pink undertones. And as I said earlier, this brand does not have a lot of shade selection. So if you have dark skin tone, not a chance in hell. If you have extremely light skin tone, not a chance in hell. So that is the foundation. At the moment, I quite like it. I also picked up the matching concealer to go with that foundation. So it is the Essence Camouflage Full Coverage Concealer, Long Lasting Cream Concealer in Ivory. Probably on a normal day, I actually wouldn't really conceal this just because I don't think I need to. But for the sake of this video and to test out the concealer, I shall. That concealer blended in like a dream. I really like that. I think it added, if possible, a little bit more coverage. Now I have no more cream products to put on the face, so I am just going to go ahead and powder. I couldn't find any loose powder in stock. Whether they sell it or not, I'm not entirely sure. But I couldn't find the loose powder in stock when I went shopping. So what I did pick up was the All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder. It has shattered a little bit, so it's a little bit all over the place and busted. So I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush and just sort of put that all over the face just to help set some of this down. So this powder doesn't have a shade with it, but I would definitely say it is not 100% translucent. It does have a little bit of a white cast. It has changed very slightly the color of this foundation, but it has also mattified it down and sort of pressed it down fairly well. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. So I picked up, I have the eyebrow mascara, which I will do, but I also picked up their eyebrow gel color and shape, which I think is meant to be their version of almost the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyebrow pomade. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how this works. This could be really bad or really good. I have not used a product, like a waxy product like this before, so this whole thing is quite new to me. Okay, so there is one brow with the pomade in it. I actually really quite like it for a natural brow. I think it has glued down my brows. It's quite waxy. I actually really quite like it, as I said, specifically for a more natural eyebrow kind of look, one that's not so drawn on and penciled. So I'm going to quickly, well not quickly, but I'm going to quickly go ahead and do my other brow so we get a little bit even. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave my brows with that product there for the moment. I actually really quite like this. My brows always end up a bit wonky and they're never the same anyway, so we're not even going to comment on that. I'm just going to go straight ahead with the Make Me Brow Fiber Mascara. I'm just going to comb this very lightly through my brows just to give it a little bit more bushiness. That is the eyebrows. I love both of those products actually. I'm going to now move on and do eyeshadow. I picked up one of their quads. This one is all about nudes and it is just a straight up nude eyeshadow palette. Very boring, but I wanted to be a bit boring, so I'm going to just grab a Real Techniques eyeshadow brush and I'm going to take this shade here and just sort of sweep that all over the lid. So there is our base done. I do just want to quickly add in here too that Essence does do a eye primer, or I have seen it done before. I could not find it while I was getting this video ready, so that's why I haven't used it. Now as for that eyeshadow, I think the pigmentation on it is okay. There is a little bit of fallout. Now I think for the rest of my eye makeup I'm going to do quite a basic bitch look and just sort of play with some of these brown tones in the crease. So it's just like an everyday, very basic smoky crease look. Yeah, we're going to go with that. We'll start soft. I think I'll just take this colour first and just sort of work that into my crease and we'll just see how we go with that. Now because I have hooded eyelids, I tend to drag the colour up a fair bit on my lid. I actually think that colour is really quite pretty in the crease, so it was just that one there next to the whitish one. And that blended really easily with the other colour. It did not skip. There was very little to no fallout on that. I actually think that looks really pretty. It just looks effortless, but it still looks completed. Looks like you put in some effort. You have sat there and blended for a little while, so you know you have done something that's worthwhile. So I am really happy with that colour. So I'm just going to literally grab the one next to it now. So that's slightly, not that one, this one. A little more of a darker chocolatey brown and just sort of run that into the same area to deepen it up very slightly. Now I know I speed through those clips, but I literally am the messiest person when it comes to eyeshadow. Like, I have 0 F's to give. I just kind of slap it in there, do a little bit of circular motions, run it back and forward, and done. So that more chocolatey brown shade worked the same for me. It was very smooth, very easy to blend, went up into where I put it, didn't shift any of the color that was underneath it. It isn't patchy. It blended very, very easily. Now, just for the sake of being able to use another color, I'm going to take the darkest shade, that one. I'm going to take the darkest shade now and do exactly the same thing, but just take a little bit of it just to darken it up ever so slightly, but focus this more on the outer corner. I'm not going to pull it all the way through. There is not a lot of fallout underneath my eyes, and considering I was working with rather dark colors, that's actually very good. Like, there is no really dark bits of eyeshadow underneath my lids there, or at least like I can't see them. And I actually think that's pretty good. Actually, one thing I will do is just add something to like the majority of my lid, which I have not done. I think I'm just going to go with this shimmery shade here at the bottom. I'm just going to go straight on in and continue with eyeliner. Now, the one that I have here is the Liquid Ink Eyeliner Waterproof. So that one is just a felt tip brush kind of applicator. I have used this one in the past. It is waterproof. It does last actually very, very well on my eyes, and it is a very pigmented lash liner, eyeliner. So, as you can see there, that is the eyeliner. I haven't done a huge wing today. I've sort of kept it quite simple. Now I'm going to just move on and do a coat of mascara. Essence does not do eyelashes, so I'm going to rely purely on mascara. The Essence one I have here is the Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. I don't have an eyelash curler either by Essence, so we will not be curling my lashes. I actually really quite like that mascara. If you have seen any of my other videos where I have ever mentioned lashes, mascara, or anything of the sort, I always complain about my natural baby lashes. I have very small natural lashes that don't tend to curl, and they are always a bit of a pain in the bum for me. But I have to admit that that mascara actually makes my lashes look relatively good. Now I'm going to move it straight on in to a little bit of bronzing. I picked up this one, the Shape Your Face Contour Kit, which has a, well, it's supposed to be a contour color, a highlighter, and a blush. Now I have obviously swatched these. That brown is way too warm for me for a contour color. That is more of a bronzer for me. I just don't work with contour shades like that. I need them to be a little bit more cooler for them to work. Otherwise, they just look a bit silly. So I'm going to use that more as a bronzer. And I have swatched the highlighter and the blush. There they are there on my finger. Now that's the blush and that's the highlighter. So on the back of my hand, just so you can kind of see, they're not fantastic. The highlighter basically disappeared. I did swatch it, but it basically disappears. So I have kind of ignored that for this video and actually went out and got a separate blush and also actually one of their little individual eyeshadows. This is in the shade Cotton Candy. And I picked this up because when I swatched this little baby in the store, there he is there, he was very, very shimmery and actually looked like quite a stunning highlight color. So I wanted to see if it worked as a highlighter. So that's what I'm going to do. Bronze slash contour with this color now. That's the bronzer. I actually really quite like it as a bronzer, not as a contour, even though I did sort of put it in very similar spots to where I would contour. I actually think it's helped the original sort of yellowish lightness of the foundation to kind of blend a little bit better with my skin tone. I actually think it looks really quite pretty on the skin. It's definitely not patchy. It has not picked up any of the foundation and shifted it. It's actually sitting really quite well on that as a base, and I just think it's added a really nice warm sort of glow to the skin. It is not muddy or anything as some bronzers can kind of work out to be. I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, I really quite like using that as more of a bronzer. I am going to go in and do my blush using Satin Coral Satin Blush, and just give a little bit of rosiness to these apples. So I'm just going to swirl that onto my brush and then tap off a little bit of the excess and just apply that to my cheeks. Bloody chipmunk cheeks. That's a pretty blush. Like, let's just give that a moment. That is a stunning coral blush. Let's move on to highlighter. So as I said, I got this little individual one and it was in the shade Cotton Candy. Ooh. So that is the highlighter that I'm going to use for this video. I will just do a quick swatch on the back of my hand. It's like very icy. I really like that as a highlighter. I'm pretty impressed that So there's that there. Now I think I'm going to run a little bit of color just under my eyes there to balance us out. That mascara is quite lengthening, if you can see what it's done there to my bottom lashes. It has actually made them quite long. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish the look off with some lips. So I have my lip liner here called In the Nude. It's just such a beautiful lip liner. Over the top of that one, I am going in with the matte long lasting lip gloss. So this isn't a matte liquid lipstick. This is supposedly a lip gloss. And this one is in the shade O2 Beauty Approved. I think that is the shade. Anyway, it is just a nude lip gloss. It actually doesn't look like a lip gloss at all. There is the one there. It's quite messy and it looks quite thick. It almost looks like a mousse. So we're just going to roll with it and just put it straight on over the top of that lip liner. So that is the matte lip gloss. I'm assuming it will settle down a little bit more. As I said, that's not really a lip gloss texture to me. It's a little bit moussey, so that's a bit strange. But the final step is to set this bad boy down. So I have the Essence Instant Matte Makeup Setting Spray here. Okay, so the spritzer on it seems alright, so I'm just going to go straight in and give a good dose of it to my skin. That was a very cooling setting spray, and the mister on that is perfect. It is not heavy or blotchy, so when you actually spritz it out, it comes out in a fine spray, so you don't feel like you've just hosed yourself down with water. I think that about wraps it up for the face. I have no more products to add to it anyway, and that is a full face of Essence makeup and first impressions. Everything here I would recommend you to buy. I don't think there was one product here where I had an issue with, even though some of the products I have tried and tested and loved beforehand. I did not try a lot of these products before. And a couple of them are more, you've got to come back to them and see how they wear. So for example, the matte complexion shattered compact, the makeup setting spray, and even sort of like the mascara to see if it transfers throughout the day and kind of falls down the face, the highlighter and the cheek products to see if they can last throughout the day, and also the foundation to see if it breaks up or gets cakey or anything like that. So obviously a lot of these products are longer testing, or I can test them for longer. But in terms of a first impression for a full face, everything on my little table here I think worked really, really well. I really quite like my look today. I really like my skin. I think I look very healthy. A lot of it is probably because of the highlighter that I went a little bit overboard with. But I think the bronzer has made my skin look really quite sun-kissed and healthy in that way. And then the highlighter obviously has added a stunning glow. The blush I think is beautiful. The foundation as a base I think has worked really well. None of these products had any problem whatsoever going on over the top of it. They didn't skip, they weren't patchy, they blended beautifully. I had no troubles whatsoever with them. The primer did not cause any troubles either. Sometimes the primer can actually be more of a hindrance rather than a help. It did not cause any problems either. The foundation and everything obviously over the top of that went along really, really nicely. The eyebrow product I'm really happy with. I actually really quite like this, and I can see me using this a lot more frequently in part of my everyday routine. I really like my brows. I think they look full, but they don't look stenciled or fake. My eyeshadow I think looks very pretty. It doesn't quite match. I think it's the blush that is throwing me off more than anything, because the eyeshadow is quite brown and neutral and the blush is coral. I think if the blush was a little bit more pink, maybe the whole look would kind of go together a little bit more. But in terms of the quality of the eyeshadows, for a couple of dollars, I don't think you can go wrong with it. They were quite pigmented. They were very easy to blend. I had no trouble with that whatsoever. I didn't have very much fallout. Any fallout wiped away very easily. The eyeliner I have tried and tested, and it is amazeballs. It does not come off. It is waterproof. It does take a little bit of getting used to with that kind of applicator, and you do have to be careful because it is a very wet formula. If you accidentally touch it to something, you have the potential to ruin your entire look. So you have to just sort of practice with it. But I think my eyeliner here looks really nice. The mascara, I actually really like it. As somebody who has very wispy baby and annoying lashes, I think my eyelashes actually look really quite nice. They don't get lost in the rest of the makeup. They are managing to stay out, so they're actually standing out a little bit. You can tell I have mascara on, you can tell I have lashes. They haven't sort of fallen away and kind of got lost in the whole look. The lip liner is one of my favorites as well. I think it's just such a stunning lip liner. No matter what color you're using, the whole range works really beautifully. And the lip color, it has sort of settled down a little bit to more of a matte finish. It's not a glossy lip gloss, and it is definitely not a liquid lipstick, so don't get the two confused. It is sitting very comfortably on the lips. It's actually a little bit hydrating as well. It's not drying at all. It's sitting quite comfortably. It was not patchy. It's quite smooth. But I think that's everything in terms of all of the products here. The only one that is like very hard for me to tell straight off the bat is really this compact, the matte compact, and that's just because it did what it was supposed to do. It kind of took down the shine of the foundation, and then that's it. There wasn't any real noticeable amazing differences with that. So that's probably something that will need just a little bit more testing to see if it does work very well throughout the day. But that is it for this video. As I said, I'm actually really quite happy with this look. I would very easily use every single one of these products again, and at this stage incorporate them into my everyday makeup routine. I will leave an update below. I will probably wear this makeup for the rest of the day, so I will leave an update below on how it actually wears throughout the day, so if the foundation breaks up, etc, etc, and I will let you know how that goes. But I think this video was an extreme success. I would recommend pretty much every product in front of me. Actually, there's nothing here that's really glaring 100% where I would say save your money and run away. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you have not already, and get excited for the Christmas content. I mean, I don't have any specific Christmas content, and my dog is dead in the background. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.